What are you doing?
Oh, kick him in the face.
If you saw an officer in duress, how would you react? Sadly, this isn't an infrequent situation. Hey, you're watching Recoil TV. I'm Dave Merrill, and once again, we've teamed up with the Polk County Sheriff Office here in Central Florida, as well as Big Daddy Unlimited to bring you a new force-on-force scenario. Today's scenario is something we've unfortunately seen many times before. A motorist, Mario in this case, will be fighting with a police officer, Glenn, today. Now, our everyman in this situation is named Brian. Brian is not a law enforcement officer. He's not a soldier. He's a regular, everyday guy who's coming across this scenario of a uniformed law enforcement officer fighting with someone. And let's see how he handles it. We'll be arming everyone with Glock 17 training guns that cannot accept live ammunition.
Get off him! Hey! Hey! Get off! Get off! Get off! Get off! Back up!
All right, we are safe. Now that we're done with this first scenario, we're going to go to our use of force expert, Sean Sloan, for a debrief.
All right, so you pulled up, you saw that there was a subject on top of clearly who's a law enforcement officer. There's a vehicle here. There's some struggle that's going on. What was your thought process when you came up? Obviously, you had already made the decision that you were going to get involved, that you wanted to provide some kind of assistance. What did you think at that point?
I really just wanted to help the law enforcement officer. I could see he was down, he was in a tussle, and I really wanted to break it up and come to aid.
Okay, and when you got up there, I saw you went hands-on. You could just see that he was on top of him, and what happened from there?
I went to pull him off, and as he was rolling over, I saw his gun. As soon as I saw his gun, I drew mine.
Did you know whose gun it was that he had at that time? You didn't know?
I didn't know.
So, and it looked like you got the officer's gun off of him, and then that's when he was trying to pull you off at the same time, and then you broke contact from going hands-on, drew, and fired a shot. How many shots did you fire, do you remember?
I believe 2.
Yeah, I mean, I see, it looks like, yeah, 2 here and here.
Something to especially keep in mind in this situation is that that police officer has no idea who you are. He has no idea if you were there to help or they're not. He's in a fight, presumably for his life. And so your actions immediately following the shooting are incredibly important. Now, Brian here stopped because he saw a law enforcement officer in a struggle and decided to intervene. And who's to say someone else isn't going to be doing the same thing or more units coming up? So your actions immediately following are incredibly important all the time, but especially important when there's a uniformed law enforcement officer present. Sean, what would he ideally do here?
Now you've got to get on the phone. Now you've got to holster your weapon. Like he was talking about, other units could be coming up, an off-duty cop could be coming up, and all he sees is you standing over somebody and a cop that's on the ground, possibly unconscious as well. So you want to make sure that you've either, if he's neutralized and he's not still moving around and you're not having to stay on him to make sure there's no other, we don't know if he has any other weapons or anything, but you need to try to get on the phone, call 911, let people know who you are, what your description is, that this is exactly what happened, and so they know that you're the good guy when other officers are responding. And then at that point, if it looks like he's neutralized, you know, you're trying to see, or either one of them, is the officer okay? Does he need any aid? The suspect, does he need any aid? And just convey that information over to dispatch and let them know that, you know, you need an ambulance there, that there's people that have been shot, somebody's injured, and you should be okay from there, and that makes you safe as well.
Yeah, if you render your gun safe, you can simply put it on the ground. What you don't want to be is a guy with a gun in his hand standing over an officer on the ground. Well, let's run through this scenario a second time, change it up a little bit, and see how Brian does.
Get off him! Get off him! Get off him! Get off him! Okay.
All right, Sean, how'd Brian do this time?
I think you did great on that one. So same scenario, except this time when you came up and you went to go pull him off, it didn't appear that he had any kind of gun at that time. What did you see when you came up? What did you do different, or you felt like you did different, or?
Saw an officer down and being attacked. I pulled up, pulled the gentleman off, and when I saw he didn't have a gun, he didn't have anything, I just tried to hold on to him and just subdue him until the officers could get to his feet and react.
That's the same thing that I saw. He definitely pulled him off of there, assessed what he saw, that the officer was on the ground. There was no weapon at that time. Tried to hold on to him and secure him, so if he was trying to get to a weapon, he couldn't get to one until the officer could get back to his feet and take care of the rest of whatever needed to be done with the suspect to get him under control. Again, I would say the same thing depending on if the officer is unconscious or whether he was able to get back involved or not. If he can and he can get on his radio to reach out to dispatch. If not, I would say, Brian, again, get on the phone and call 911 and let them know that you just were involved. And that way, if there is, at this point, there probably is people responding already, but just to let them know what you have on, who you are, and what you did, so you do not get confused with the guy who is actually trying to fight the officer.
And this is exactly why we go through training scenarios like this. If you can get quality force-on-force training, I highly recommend that you take it. But if you can't, watching videos like this and thinking about these scenarios are very important if you're going to be out and around with a concealed carry weapon yourself, whether it's protection of you or for others.